Hello, everyone, and welcome to Earp Sister Feels, episode number 4. On this particular episode, I'm going to be discussing 3 episodes of Wynonna Earp. Episode 105, Digging Up Bones, episode 106, Constant Cravings, and episode 107, Walking After Midnight. Welcome back, everyone. A big thank you to all of you who've been sending in video comments. I really enjoy getting those, along with the replies on Twitter and Facebook as well. And it's great that I get to include those video comments when I finalize the video and post it to YouTube. So I usually leave these, when I initially record them and post them on Twitter and Facebook, I leave them open, so to speak, where you get a few days if you want to share some thoughts about these specific episodes or just the Earp Sisters in general. And all you have to do down below this video, you'll see a button marked Record or Reply. You don't need any special software or anything at all. As long as you're using a smartphone, just tap on that and you can record a video, play it back to make sure you're comfortable with it, and then send it off to me. And then I get to include it, which is a lot of fun. I love doing the community side of this here during our hiatus leading up to Wynonna Earp Season 4. And as I've mentioned, especially early in the series here, we have some episodes where we don't have a ton of Earp Sister scenes yet, as the series is kind of laying the groundwork and things are getting going. So that's why on this one I'm covering 3 episodes of the show, because we don't have a ton of stuff for the Earp Sisters in these 3 episodes. Let's start off with Digging Up Bones. We have this one at the beginning of the episode. We get them together as we have Wynonna having a bit of a nightmare, dealing with the whole situation with Willa, having some flashbacks, playing back that. The two of them kind of dealing with it there as Waverly's trying to help her as she wakes up. And hitting the obvious and important thing that Wynonna is trying to, mentally bury, so to speak, the idea that she can't just keep killing revenants and expecting it not to affect her in some way. So it's an important stuff to there. I also really love the nice touch here of the two of them then talking about how, Willa, and trying to remember her, even right down to the idea whether or not she had pierced ears, when it's been so long since you've been able to see someone. That's a real way of realizing or some of the memories fading and what that impact is. So it was very important stuff there. Moving on to 106, Constant Cravings. We get some fun with the two of them at the diner, basically talking about, their sex lives, if you will, having a little bit of fun there. Wynonna talking about her out-of-body, toe curling experience, and Waverly talking about Champ a little bit, just some silly fun there for the two of them. And then a little later on, the scene where they are unloading stuff out of the truck, Champ and Waverly, and Wynonna just comes in a little bit, but that's where, they find the bike, and we get that great scene, the scene of Wynonna in her bike that she's now inherited. That was a lot of fun there. And then moving on to Walking After Midnight, 107. Not a ton here either, but a very important one, as many of you are well aware. We get a short scene of the two of them at Shorty's early on in the episode, but the bigger one is towards the end, when the whole stuff with Constance is played out, and, basically the attack on the homestead, and all the zombie-like things going on, and Waverly coming out to confront Constance with the skull that she's had, that Curtis, basically hid for her. And standing right up to Constance. Some big stuff there for her to do that, and the heroes always win comment. How many of us have, quoted that or gifted that? It's very meaningful there when she throws the skull against the side of the barn, and, Constance throws her against it before Wynonna can kind of come in and save the day and be there with her. The two of them, as Wynonna is consoling her and checking on her, make sure she's okay, very important. I mean, we have some humor, as we often do, with the whole idea of, Waverly saying she'll never play piano again, and Wynonna, that she never did in the first place. But the hug and the kiss that Wynonna gives her there, definite goosebumps in terms of that was real brave. Stupid, but very brave. Meaningful stuff. We don't have a ton there, but again, that's some big stuff that takes place here. So that'll wrap it up, actually, for this episode. Pretty quick one, because again, in this set of episodes, we don't have a ton of Earp Sister stuff. But I do want to thank all of you. It's wonderful reading the comments, whether you just reply on Twitter with your thoughts, which is fine. I enjoy that a great deal, Twitter or Facebook. And then if you are someone who's been sending in the videos or you want to, please just engage. Quick message is fine. Doesn't have to be long. Some folks leave long stuff, which I love. Some want to leave a quick 30-second comment. That's great, too. It's a community. I like to see the community involved, especially during hiatus. gives us something fun to do. So feel free to share some thoughts. From the time this goes up, I usually leave them open for 2 or 3 days, and you can get some thoughts in. And then they go up on YouTube. And if you check the notes on our account, I link over to the playlist on YouTube. So if you're someone who's just finding these here at episode 4 or something in the future, there's a playlist with all of these. So you can go back to the beginning and take them all the way through there. So again, appreciate all of you tuning in and checking it out. And I will catch you all soon. Take care.
All right, 105 through 107. We definitely don't have a ton of sister scenes together, but we do have 2 really big episodes for Wynonna and Waverly specifically. And then we do have like some fun little tidbits in between as well. The only thing I'm going to say about 106 is that we get one of my, it's just a hilarious little moment. When Wynonna sees the bike, she pushes Waverly out of the way, which is just like in a playful way. And it's just one of like the most sibling-y things and it's just like such a little moment, but it just felt really nice. In 105, a much heavier episode for Wynonna, we're sort of like feeling her self-doubt and her incapability, like sort of all of the things that she's feeling internally. At the beginning of the episode, we get the only positive conversation that she has in the whole episode with Waverly, who is essentially just telling her to like feel her feelings and that it's okay to feel the weight of everything that she has to deal with. And then every other conversation that she has throughout the episode and Nightmare, we start with the Nightmare of Willow, which is like a really good allegory for like the guilt that she feels for having to sort of take on the burden and everything that she did. And then we have her conversation with Dolls after Kreiderman, and he's disappointed in her, but she even says, like, I'm not a cop. Like, this isn't something that she's trained for. This isn't something that she wanted. But he's disappointed in her lack of ability. And then we have Bobo after after he's sort of contained. And he says, like, just wait. Like, if you think you feel the weight of it now, just wait until all other stuff is going on. Which is just sort of, like, discrediting all of the emotions that she's already feeling, which is the opposite of what she needs to hear. And then at the very end of the episode, we have her and Doc, who just disagree with how everything needs to be handled. And we finally get to hear her say for the first time, make your peace, which is obviously a huge thing that goes throughout the series. And it really can only be like a testament to the conversation that she had earlier with Waverly, where Waverly tells her that it's okay to like feel something during all of this, and that it isn't something that is trivial or mundane or whatever. So that is a really cool moment in that episode. So just like a little thing that ends up being something really meaningful. And very similarly, in 107, we have Waverly who's, going through like feeling like she doesn't really fit in and being underestimated by Doc, and, sort of just like not fitting in with her friends. And at this point, she's really proud of being like the keeper of the bones, and no one is sort of with her on that. And we get her big moment where she stands up to Constance Clutie and finally gets to be part of the curse and like the active demon hunting. And Wynonna shows up, but that she's been there because she's not like hopping out of the car when she shoots at Constance, but she lets Waverly have that moment. She lets her have like the hero moment, which is also really big. And because of her conversation with Nicole previous to this, that she's just trying to let Waverly have a little space and a little independence, and recognizes that she is growing and that she is capable, which again juxtaposes everything else that Waverly has been dealing with the entire episode. And the conversation with Nicole with Wynonna is also really important because Wynonna, her boss is gone. She's dealing with the end of the 7. Her life is a little bit upended right now, and the only thing that she cares about is if she's given Waverly enough independence. So again, just like 2 little moments in those bookended episodes that that have like a pretty big impact for the character development of both sisters throughout the series. So that's my 2 cents. And as always, thank you, Kevin, and I look forward to the next episodes.
Hi, this is Terry Ann. I really liked these past 3 episodes. I thought it was really cool in 105 to kind of see the reversal of the big sister, little sister dynamic between Waverly and Wynonna. When Wynonna has her nightmare and Waverly kind of gets a chance to be the one to comfort Wynonna and just let her know that Wynonna doesn't have to be on all the time. Waverly can be the one to look out for and take care of her big sister every once in a while. So that was really nice just to see that, the little bit of the role reversal. And I wrote some notes down for 106, so I'm just going to read them because I didn't want to forget. I thought it was really interesting in 106 after Waverly gets the note from Uncle Curtis, that she immediately hid his note from Wynonna instead of sharing it with her. But it was just interesting to see how Waverly and Wynonna could still speak really freely about their love life, and kind of the intimate details of things like that. So it seems like at this point, the sisters are still getting to know each other, and they can talk about current things and events, but they're not yet ready to dive into things that have to do with their past or really the core of who they are just yet. And this could be maybe because they're still scared that they won't be accepted by the other sister. Especially with Waverly knowing that her wanting to know more about her past and be more involved into looking into her connection with her own history means getting closer and deeper into the world that Wynonna is trying so hard to, quote unquote, protect her from, and to keep her out of. So, Waverly can't yet share this potentially super important finding with her sister, because instead of bringing them together to explore it, it might push them further apart in some way because of Wynonna's overprotectiveness. And then later in the note, it says that you're the only one I can trust. And, when we look at Waverly's face, she just looks so proud. Like it's one of the first times in a really long time that someone is acknowledging her skill set and her worth, her importance. And it's like someone is finally validating her for being worthy of time, attention, responsibility, and just as like a competent human being, not just a little girl. And even though it's great to see her finally getting this validation, it was a little bit sad that she couldn't share it with Wynonna just yet. But I did really like that Waverly got her chance to have her, her independent moment, her hero moment, essentially, where she gets to stand up to Constance, and yeah, basically just be her own hero. So it was really cool to see, Waverly kind of handling things on her own, and doing things in her own way, the Waverly way. And last thing, I just thought it was, I really liked seeing that really sweet moment between Wynonna and Waverly at the end, where, Wynonna kind of, we see the return of that big sister, little sister dynamic where, Wynonna is comforting Waverly after she hurt her arm. But again, just kind of, giving Waverly her props and saying, that was stupid, but it was really brave. So it's just really cool to, with these rewatches, kind of see the beginnings of the Earp sister relationship. They're still kind of figuring each other out. They're kind of keeping things from each other, but slowly trying to, build that closer relationship and let each other in and figure out, what is it okay to share with my sister and what will she accept me for and what will she not accept. So yeah, it'll just be fun to kind of watch or rewatch their relationship just kind of develop. So yeah, just looking forward to exploring that in the upcoming episodes. All right, bye.
Hey, hello, Nedley's office again. I got my hair cut, if you like it. So Kevin gave us this really hard task of talking about 3 episodes, 105, 106, and 107 in one episode of Earp Sister Feels. I'm up to the task. Okay, 105. I want to talk about just a couple of scenes in 105. Specifically, yes, Wynonna's having nightmares. She's talking about how she's killing revenants. And I think we have to remember that literally one episode before, she killed Shorty. Somebody from their childhood, somebody from their past. This is not an easy task, being the heir. This is a task Waverly wanted, but it's not hers, and Wynonna is tasked with it. And yeah, it's not easy. It affects them. And in that scene also, they are setting us up to meet the other Earp sister, namely Willa, who has obviously a big impact on their past. So I think in 105 we're really, it's really starting to talk. We're starting to talk about how complicated the Earp sisters, all 3 of them, and what their lives are like, and how complicated it is. But the beautiful thing about it is it's clear from the very, very beginning, and still here in 105 when Waverly comforts Wynonna as she comes out of her nightmare, that Waverly and Wynonna are there for each other through thick and thin, through all of this, and that's amazing. And so then we get to 106, scrolling through my notes, and yeah, I love the scene in the diner where they're talking about their sex lives, and that was very funny. But behind that also is Wynonna, tells Waverly that Champ is below her, and yes, Waverly has this very funny, like, yeah, of course he's below me, and I do love the humor, but I don't think it's a coincidence that in that same episode where Wynonna tells Waverly, "You're better than this," and also turns to her and says, "I need your help. I need you as the expert in this curse, as the expert in our family history. I need you to tell me who this neck tattoo person is." I don't think it's coincidence that in that same episode later, Waverly broke up with Champ. I think the return of Wynonna to her life has really given her some purpose and made her realize also that, I'm better than this. And I think Wynonna helped her realize that. So again, the sister relationship is super complex, but also just super rewarding. On to 107. We're doing super fast changes here because I'm trying to keep my notes under 5 minutes, and I don't know if I'll do it, but here I'm going to try. So 107, Walking After Midnight. Yes, the scene at the end was where Wynonna cradles Waverly after she threw that skull against the wall is just this beautiful scene. It just is wonderful. And, but what I liked most about that episode even more is that throughout the episode, even though the 2 sisters were apart, they were talking about the other one. When Wynonna was with Nicole in Nicole's office, and Wynonna was saying, "Hey, Waverly should be spending time with you," and Nicole's like, "Yeah, I agree." But Wynonna's thinking about Waverly even when they're apart. And then back at the homestead, with when the zombies were attacking, and she's like, "Yes, I'm a freak. Wynonna's a freak. we're all freak, you know, and I know how to ward off zombies and ward off, you know, witches. But she's thinking about Wynonna and their life together. And so even when they're apart, these two sisters are thinking about each other. And I think that's what all three of these episodes show, is that even when they're apart, they absolutely are having an impact on each other. And I think it's fantastic. And even though I'm after 5 minutes, I'm going to go all the way back to episode 105 with Wynonna's statement about how boobs are better than dynamite, because part of me really hopes we revisit this, because I think Waverly has shown in the last couple seasons she has an affinity for boobs, and I think this is great fodder for some fun sisterly discussions. So yeah, these 3 episodes, even though those two sisters weren't on screen together, I think there was just some wonderful interactions. Yeah, just some wonderful interactions, even though they weren't on screen a lot of time together. Yeah, I've rambled on again, longer than Kevin. Sorry. All right. See you next